Hey friends, happy Thursday. What time is it? I don't even know. 10:35. Hope you're all having a lovely week. It is rainy and gross here, but a great day to spin inside, so that's good. Maria asked a good question this week that I want to use for Hoerner Happy Hour. So she said, she asked how often people change their playlists, which is a good question. So I've been to classes, a lot of classes. I find instructors who use the same playlist over and over and over again. And then I've seen instructors who change it every single time. I think the right answer is somewhere in the middle. So I am a big fan of repurposing. I love the idea of knowing a song really well, especially if you're someone who teaches to the beat of the music. Whether you do choreography or not, if you teach to the beat of the music, you're adding an extra layer to class, which I think is great. And that requires knowing your songs really well. We don't all have unlimited time, and building playlists and classes takes a long time. We know that. So I think that reusing the occasional song is totally fine. So let's say I taught yesterday and I had a whole new playlist and I'm teaching again tonight. I would probably take maybe 3 songs from that playlist and reuse them, max. Sometimes I'll do a whole new playlist just because I'm personally not feeling the music anymore, but I would take 3 songs max. And the other thing is I probably won't do the same thing with them. So if someone were to come to my class yesterday and then come back today, they might recognize the song, but we're going to do something different with it. You don't have to do that. That's what I do. I find that, and I ask my instructors to create new playlists as they're able to and within reason. So if you're teaching a 6 a.m. class on Monday and then a 6 p.m. class on Tuesday, you're probably not going to get the same crowd. It's probably okay to reuse that playlist. I probably still wouldn't. I would repurpose it and make it similar but a little bit different, just in case you get someone different. If I'm doubling 2 in a row, I always do the same playlist because the chances that you get someone to double with you are minimal. And if they do, they probably wouldn't mind doing the same class because they'll know it the second time around and they'll just push a little bit harder, maybe. So it's going to vary depending on who you ask this question, right? So there's going to be a lot of studios, if you teach at a boutique studio, that require you to make an all-new playlist every time. I know that I've been in places like that. I ask my instructors to make an effort, but we also have to recognize that, it's not everyone's first job being an instructor. And even if it is, you're probably teaching a whole lot of other classes, and you have to make space for yourself to enjoy the class and still, have the energy, bring the energy. And if you're spending hours upon hours building new playlists every week, you're going to burn out. So repurposing is key. Another thing that I do, that's one of my hints for repurposing, is to take a playlist that maybe I did 3 months ago and copy it in Spotify and then mix and match in new stuff. So I'm taking maybe like 4 old songs from that playlist just to get me going, get me started, and then I mix in some new stuff just so I'm not starting from scratch every time. So I take old playlists, I take a couple songs from maybe the other day that I'm reusing. Repurposing is really key. It's important, especially if you're newer, to repurpose so that you're not burning out quickly. And again, if you're new, by the way, reusing playlists is going to be the best way you can learn. So I tend to give a little more leeway to newer instructors and let them use the same playlist a couple times so that they can really master how they're going to teach to it. And that way you learn with that same music. Instead of focusing on the music, since you know it so well, you're focused on the cueing, you're focused on the drills, which is a great way for you to build up a little experience, build up a little confidence, because we all know that matters, and then you create a new playlist. So again, this is going to vary. You might have a manager that says, I want a new playlist every time, in which case you have to do that or teach. But I think it's somewhere in between, personally. I think it's somewhere in between finding some new stuff to keep it fresh while still, you're welcome, Maria, while still using, some stuff that's going to give you a little bit of a break. So just always remember, guys, that when you're creating your playlist, you have to be excited about it. So if you take your playlist from yesterday, but you hated it, and in class you weren't really pumped, you weren't really excited, and you noticed that they weren't either, you got to change it. Because if you don't like it, they won't like it. But if you had a playlist yesterday that was awesome and you totally rocked out during it, then using a few of those songs again and feeling that energy again, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So there's no right or wrong answer here. In my opinion, I think it's going to be up to you, and it's going to be up to how your riders like to ride. It's going to be up to your manager. But finding a balance somewhere in the middle is always the best, right? Balance is good. So if you have any questions on that, let me know. But I highly recommend, pulling old playlists from a few months ago, even if it's just to get a little inspiration and kind of mixing and matching some new stuff in and using that as a way to repurpose and save you a little time. So let me know if you have questions in the comments. I'll come back and check them later. And I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. I'll talk to you later.